Hi everybody, it's Janet and we're here at Fruit of the Vine Arts Studio in Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. And if you're not sure and you're just tuning into my page and you're wondering, I go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and every Saturday at noon. So if you'd like to try to paint along and join me sometime, you're more than welcome to. You know you can find me live every Wednesday and every Saturday, 8 p.m. and noon. I'm going to tilt you down and zoom you in, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Today we're going to do a little, I'm not going to zoom you in very much, just enough. We're going to do a little wintry day, a little winter scene here today. Now, I've kind of got it drawn on here. Of course, I draw everything beforehand, just to, get myself sort of prepared as to placement. But it's going to be two birds. It's going to be two cardinals. So we could call it the Cardinals Winter Day, anything like that. Whatever you want to call it, it's just a wintry type scene. And for this, we're going to be using some blues, reds, orange, a little bit of yellow. So you might want to just have some of those colors nearby and ready. I'm going to get this orange right here and this red. And I think we're going to start with our background first. So our background is going to be the blues that I was talking about. So we're going to get a dark blue. I've got a true navy here. Get some of that out. And I'm going to have some black. And I'm going to need some white. Okay. Now, just to get started, I want this to be lighter in the background here. So to get started, I'm going to put a little bit of white and just start working it back in this area. But now I don't want this to stay completely white, so I'm going to just touch into this blue and get more white and mix that and make me a color here to the side. That's going to be a very light blue that I'm going to bring right up here around the birds. And I'm going to mix it down in here with this white. Just a little bit. Get me a little more of that. I'm going to need some burnt umber today. I'll be using a little bit of burnt umber for the tree branches. And I'm trying to work around my birds. I've only penciled things in, so I haven't really prepared to make it to where I can just sling paint everywhere today. I'm going to have to take a little more time with what I'm doing. Now I'm wanting this to get a little bit darker as I'm going out here. So I'm going to mix in some of this little bit darker blue here. Just in a few areas. And then I'm going to bring some of that lighter blue that I had and just sort of blend that along in here as well. Bring that down here around the bird a little bit. And mix it a little bit further over in here, just darkening this up a little bit more. Sorry about that. Once again, of course, my notifications are still on, and I'm painting away, and I forgot to turn them off. As usual, you all know me by now if you've been with me. You know by now I'm going to forget to turn off those notifications. Do I do it on purpose? No, I really don't. I truly don't. It's just one of those things that I just really don't think about. I've got so many things going on in my head before I go live, trying to make sure that I've got everything that I need here in front of me and that I'm going to be able to hurry up. And, I don't want to be in here for hours using your time doing these things. I'm just trying to make a pretty painting for you and with you. For that matter, I'm just trying to do a little bit of painting with you. And I'm just trying to not take all night doing it either. I know nobody wants to watch for 3 or 4 hours while somebody's painting. That's a long time. So yes, I'm trying to be mindful of your time and mindful of my time as well. I want to create something fun and pretty. I'm just kind of rolling this around, as you can see here. Adding the dark in as I go, just getting it a little bit darker back in here. Bring that right up in through here. And a little bit right in here, because I can still see the canvas through here, so I know that's not quite getting full coverage. There we go. That looks pretty good over here with this bird. Kind of pretty well blended. It's blended pretty well. Okay, now we're going to work on this side over here with this bird. Let me blend this a little bit more right here. There we go. I'm going to get this a little bit darker over here now, just like we did that side. Mix this up a little bit darker blue and start working that in over here. Let me add a little water to my mixture and maybe we can get things to go just a little bit further and a little bit faster. Because I want to try to hurry it before it dries up here. But I want it to also blend in with the color that I've already started with on the sky here. So let me get a little more of the white. Bring it along right through here. Bring that right up in here. Start blending it over through here. Bit more up here. Let me work on blending this outward. Okay. Get a little more white in here. Wipe my brush. I said, I want this to be lighter here in the middle, so I'm going to try to maintain that light appearance right in here. But I still want it to have some blue in it. It doesn't need to be snow white. Just kind of bring it in right underneath the bird's legs here. And that little bird's sitting right on the branch, so we're not going to have any of that coming between underneath him. Working from the bottom up, just blending upward. Put a little bit more light over here. And then we're going to work this right here. Okay. That's about how I want that to look. Let's just work a little smidgen right here. Come from the bottom part up again right in here. Okay. Now you can see the white in the middle kind of just blending out towards the edges. Bring a little bit of dark bracket up into this area. Okay, and then I'm going to just keep going here. And we'll add just a little bit of the dark right in here, under the birdie. Scoop that closer to the bird right there. Bring this down a little bit in this area. Okay, and I think I better do the side of the painting as well. So let me just mix up some blue and white here, and then we'll little more white in the mix. Blend it along a little bit here. Let's put some right in this area. A couple of tree limbs going to be coming out of that spot too, so we'll work on that as well. Now I've got to make this area right here. I'm going to go with this right here. Maybe bring it in a little more dark as we go over to the side. Working along the top here. I'm not too worried about getting it over in that area. That's going to be a very snowy little branch anyway. There's the lighter color coming up from the top. And let's get a little bit more dark. Just filling this in along the edges while I'm at it. Get me a glob of white. Put a little bit across the top there. Leave that a little darker there. Get this thing off of the canvas. Come on, what are you? Some little fuzz. Some little fuzz that's hanging out here on the canvas with us. Just adding in some spots here that seem to have a little bit of a missing area. Add a little more dark right there. Just some different little streaky areas in here. As I turn it, I see little spots that do not have paint. And I think it's still looking like it's blending pretty well. little bit more blue to this. That's almost like a dry brush, what I'm doing right here. Still has that light effect in between the two birds, but it's a little bit darker looking, just a little bit. And then I'm going to work this in with just a little bit of water. Let me get a little more water on here. I can't really see what I'm doing with this light here. There we go. That's better. Now I can kind of see. I'm going to sit it down in just a moment so that you can see what I am doing. And then maybe I can see a little better too. Just a little bit lighter here behind this bird. Yeah, that looks a little better. A little better. A little better blended. A little better blended. Okay. Where's my burnt umber? There's nutmeg. Here we go. Okay. Do I got any in there? There we go. I'm just going to take my brush here and I'm going to get some of this burnt umber on my brush. And I'm just going to bring it right on across here. I'll probably be going back over this part after we finish the bottom half. I just want to make sure that it stays right about where I'm looking at. All right, and that branch goes right under the birds. Right over this edge. Paint that corner brown there. Burnt umber, which is brown. If you don't have a burnt umber, just use any kind of a dark brown. Nothing ever has to be the exact colors. A lot of people stress over things like that. Ooh, what color did you use? Well, you know, you can reach the same hue various ways, but I can tell you the name of what I've bought and what I'm using, but really it comes down to, you can see, just look at this. This is dark brown. Turn it this way a little bit. Over the edge. Then we got another branch coming out right here. There we go. My nose is itching. What does that mean? My mom always knew what all those things mean. I think it means somebody's coming to visit. Your nose itches. Maybe I better pull my sleeve up. Okay, over here we've got another branch. Comes out. This just comes right across through here and needs to look a little pointier than that. There we go. We're just dragging the brush with sort of a medium pressure. I'm not giving it full pressure or the brush would be completely splayed out. Says I got a slow connection. I hope you guys are able to watch this. Okay. Bring that back in that way. Bring that back in that way. Oh, I needed to get this side done. I knew there was something. I was trying to figure out what did I forget. Okay. Now we've got the branches coming around where the birds are. We'll add a little bit of light to that in just a little bit. First, we're just going to start working on some other things here. Let me see. Let me scoot it over to where you see what I'm doing. I need to work on this bottom area as well and get it filled in. And that needs to be sort of a medium looking blue. So let me rinse that brown off. And we're going to get some more of the white and some of that blue. I'm working on not touching that, which I know is just going to make that harder to come back here and finish filling this in. So I'm going to just go ahead and press it right up in there. Try to avoid that brown. Be adding more white to that area too, though, so I'm not too terrified, concerned that it's not going to work right. I think it'll look all right. I'll be adding more, just cover that up a little bit. I'm going to try to be careful around the branches. I got to put snow on the branches anyway, so it's not like it'll be a catastrophe if I end up with some of it in there. But what I'm trying to do is just fill in this background pretty quickly without getting that brown mixed in here. And that brown's still just a wee bit wet. Like right there. And we'll work on getting it on the side here also. And none of that's going to be, I'm not going to worry about any of that because there'll be snow on those branches. Snow on this branch. Right down and around through here. Okay, now let me get this on the side. Across the bottom. And I know right now that just looks like it's odd. It's very plain at the bottom. But we're working on it. Make it make sense here. What are you doing on this here snowy day? Are you in an area where there's snow? I'm in an area where there's sleet. I'm in an area where there is sleet today. Now, not too far away, in less than a 15-minute drive, I can get to where they're getting some snow. But from where I am right here, it's just sleety stuff hanging in the trees outside. It's not a pretty snowy day or nothing like that here. It's not a pretty snowy day, that's for sure. It's just sort of, you know, sort of a sleety day. Okay, now we got this back here. Before I start playing with that bird, I'm going to get a little bit of my that looks the same to me. Kelly green. Get a little bit of that out. Turn this around. Use that brush and get some of that green. And I'm just going to some more of that green. So that you see that there's actually ground beneath. There needs to be some other things in the background. So we're going to have a tree. And I know right now that tree's looking kind of funky. That's okay. We aren't worried about it. First off, we just got to get it blocked in. Turn it around here a little bit. Because you know I'm going to paint the side now. Can't just leave that with the blue on it. I'm going to have a green tree growing here. What would Bob Ross think of me, hey? Not that I am trying to emulate Bob Ross in any way. I am not a fine artist. I am a fun artist. I'm not fine arts, I'm fun art. Things that anybody can do. And even if you don't think you can, I'm telling you right here and now, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You can do that too. Okay, and we're just going to darken that in a little bit down in here. Doesn't really matter too much. This can still be going up. You can even see some of it up in here. It doesn't really matter. The tree's just there. Might not see that in a minute anyway. We'll see in a few. Okay, we're going to give it a little more body. I'm going to wipe this off. And go into the dark green. And get me a little black. That dark green. together. That black splattered. I'd be daggone, man. Okay. Well, we'll deal with that in a second here. Let me get a baby wipe. Splattered on a couple little spots. You take your baby wipe and you get it right now. Ain't worried about that spot. I ain't worried about that spot. But you get your baby wipe and you get it right now. And you can usually take care of little things. Or you can just let it dry. It's just a spot. Okay, anyway, I'm working on darkening up the green. Let me use this brush. Just what I figured I would do. Just get a little bit too much of the other color. Darken it up a little smidge. You know, I'm not going to worry too much about that, guys, because actually I'm going to be adding snow to everything. So, how well that's blended right there really isn't an issue. Hey, Kim. Hi, Hannah. Thanks for joining me. Watch it from the beginning on your day off? Yeah, I'm painting slow today, actually. It's taking me a while. I'm not getting very far. When do I go live? Is there a schedule? Every Saturday at noon and every Wednesday at 8. You can find me here. I'm going to add some dark in here and then I'm going to go back over that. Just want to get some darkness and some spots, especially along down through here. And then we're going to work on adding some greens to it and making it blend right. Let me turn this towards me. I need to be able to see what I'm doing. It's hard with those lights around me. And we will be putting snow on the tree, so I'm not too worried about that in the background either. I just want this tree to have dark. You can't have light if you don't have dark. That's really all there really is to it. You cannot have light if you don't have dark. So you got to have some darkness in here. I'm not too worried about down in there too much because, you know, I mean, still got to get my bird wing together and get my birds going. I'm just hitting it up on the side here. Okay, for now we're just going to let that part dry. I'm going to rinse this off. Get a little bit of that water. Just a little bit of blue to this white. Be careful what I'm doing here. I'll be slinging stuff again. Having this right on top of this branch. Bear with me while I'm quiet. Sometimes I gotta quit yakking and pay attention to what I'm trying to do. Let me get a little more of that. Over the edge as well. Okay. Let me get some of that. Bring it right along the top of this. Oop, a little too far over right there, but that's okay. I'll just get some more of that brown out as well. I'll be using some more of it anyway. Mixing up some more of that mid blue, whatever you want to call this here. It's sort of a mid. Sort of between what I was using for this down here at the bottom and slightly darker. But that's okay. We are going to bring it right along here. On the top of that branch. Over the edge on there. Get a little more right there. Okay, we're going to go up here and work atop these branches. don't want to water it down too much, and then it would just be like a watercolor on here. There we go. Bring that over the edge here. Let me turn it this way a little bit. All right. Okay. Let those dry for a second. Get some more of the white. And just kind of making some little variations in the ground area down here. Just some. Get it tilted up to where I can see where it needs some more of that darkening. Right up against this. Okay. It's kind of hard to figure out what's going on back here. This is snow at the bottom. But we'll work on it, and it'll work out all right. We'll get that. Let me get my little brush. Branch out just a little bit. That's really not going to show though, because snow's going to be on top of that. Where I killed it on this side. Like I'm really worried about this, you know. I should not be. But I want that to have a smooth appearance right there. It's the bottom of the branch. I'm going to use that extra brown, just put it in here. Mix that up. I'm using some white. Bringing it across the top of where this blue is. Making it a little bit chunkier looking. Okay. Don't want it to be too straight looking. It's got to kind of have a lumpy type appearance to it. And that's just adding snow on top of that branch is really what I'm doing here. I'm adding snow to the top of the branches. I'm probably doing this entire painting backwards. I probably should have started on my birds, but I didn't. I did mine this way. Now that darker blue, you're like, what is that there? That's the shadow of the snow on top of this branch. Bring the snow down a little bit further towards it. Comes right across the top of this one. Just sort of going off over the edge here. Let me turn it a little bit to where I can see. Bring this down a little closer. Across that branch. Have to get me out a little more white. I try to get myself in the habit of not getting out too much paint. I do seem to always over pour, and then I have so much left over, and I don't want to put it, you don't really want to put it back in the bottle. You don't want to throw it away. Try to figure out how to keep wet palette and stuff like that, but really, I just try to learn to do a little better job of not pouring out so much paint anymore, because I'm pretty bad about it. Just, if you need more, go back and get more, Janet. If you need some more, go back and get some more. Put a little more out. Just leaving a little line of that darker blue along the bottom of that and between the branch. Just sort of tap that underneath there. Tap that out a little bit right in there. Now you can kind of see that blue just showing through just a little bit underneath there. And that needs to go out just a little bit over the edge of the branch. And kind of just jabbing it in there. Keep this up here in this corner. Turn it towards me. A little bit thicker right here where the branch meets. A little more snow at the top over here where it's a little bit thicker of a branch. They're awful thick on this edge, but that's all right. I'm not going to worry about it. It was a heavy snow. That's what it was. There was a heavy, heavy snow. You can see the snow showing up great on the branches. Those branches are up closer. I'm sorry. I got like a frog in my throat. Need a good drink of water. I didn't bring any water up here with me, of course. And then we're just going to kind of... just kind of making some white spots in this tree. A little thicker up here. You make it any way you want. I'm just throwing some white in there. Little splotches and little spaces. And you want to leave some of the dark. You want to make sure you have some of the dark in there. As I said, you can't have light without dark. Well, you can't just make it all white either. There was a reason you put that black and green on there, and it was so it would show through. So now you've got your tree in the background just kind of hanging out. Maybe put a little bit on this splotch of green that I added up here. I don't know. I keep wanting to play with that, and I gotta stop. I gotta stop it, stop it, stop it. I'll just keep messing and messing and messing. I just want some more white down in here in the spots. I don't want to get too carried away with that, though. Probably needed another tree over here on this side, but I didn't put one. That's okay. We're going to add snow dots falling. I got to quit this stuff. Okay, let's get on to painting these birds, huh? Let's move on and paint the bird. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with his mask. Turn him towards me. Nice little rounded eye. May as well get this guy while I'm at it, huh? Okay. Turn this around here to where the black is towards me. Trying to make sure what I'm going to put my hand on is not going to smear something all over the place. I've been known to do that way too many times, guys. Way too many times. Now, I'm not too worried about this staying the way that I'm making it right this moment, because I can always come back and add more and do little feathery looks to it coming out around his face. But for now, I'm just trying to get the outline of his mask. I'm going to leave a little ring around his eye. Bring it back just a little bit right here. Okay, I'm going to turn him over this way. Just draw a little line right there for myself. Trying to make sure I'm not going to touch nothing over here in this white. I can hear them blue jays out in my backyard. I don't know if you can hear them. You know what? I don't know. I think that is the blue jay. I can see that's wet right there is why I'm stressing about touching over here. Bring that back this way just a little bit. A little further down. It's going to be odd right there. I'm going to have to blend that a little bit better. Let me get some red out. Squeeze some red down here. Thank you. What if I use this cherry cobbler? I'll probably use both. Let's get them both out. Okay. Let me wipe my brush off. Get some of this cherry cobbler. I'm going to try that. Yeah, I can add some extra reds to that, some other red, and make that a little bit brighter looking there than that. And now we'll just work with it. This down here. This is cherry cobbler is what I'm using here. Bring it right up underneath his tail. Or underneath his wing, I meant. Make it a little more paint. This right down here. Gonna work on getting that a little closer. Okay. You can see the red bird coming in now. Hey, Steve. Thanks for commenting. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a great day. Now we're going to add a little bit of red. Up in here. And we'll get some red right back in this feather area, or his feather wing area. Not too much, though. Okay, let me get a little bit of orange. Where did I put my orange? Get me some of this red and mix that with this orange. Where's that brown? Let me get a drop of brown. Ooh, getting hairy here. Don't want you to get hairy now. Sort of a orangey brown color. I'm going to bring it over this way a little bit. I'm going to use a little darker in that area, so I'm just going to bring it down in here. Get a little bit of yellow. Where's my yellow? Or maybe gold. Let me get gold. Mixing the color that's on my brush in with some gold. Just a little bit of this. Right around there on that cheeky area. And a little on the back. And we'll get a little more red mixed in with this in just a second here. See, we need a little bit of that in here. Need a little more of that yellow color, that gold. Just a little bit there. Kind of get an idea how it's looking a little bit different there. Okay, now I'm going to take some of my bright red. I'm going to wipe this off. And actually I'm going to get a little bit of brown, a little more brown with that orange. Right in there. Right in here. Just a smidgen of it going across right through there. Blend it a little around the face. Let me get some of the cherry red. Get this cheek. Get some of my brighter red. And that's gonna go right over this one. This is Christmas red. Let me put some of the bright red on the top of his head. Why did I bother to paint it with the dark red first? Because some of the dark red is always going to show through on there, which is going to give it natural shading, and it also kind of gives him a sheen almost, sort of. Let me get just a little more brown. Right in there. Now you think his wing looks odd. It does look odd. We're going to work on that. It's going to have black in it. A little more detail to it. Get a little darker brown for down there. The female bird has a little bit darker looking color to her. Needs to be on his shoulder. This is a lighter brown, so I'm going to take some of the gold and mix it in with the brown just to make a lighter brown. Burnt umber, I'm sorry. I'm mixing it in the burnt umber. A little dark right in here. I'm going to get some of the orange and the brown. Make it more orangish. More orangey. I don't know what you want to call it. Burnt orange, I guess. Would probably be about the right color, I guess. Burnt orange. You know, I maybe ought to do this with the small brush. as I'm looking at that thinking, you're gonna mess that beak up, Janet. Let's get this little brush. Nice little peaky to his beak. They've got quite the little point on the tip. Doesn't curve down or anything like that. It's not a predator type beak, but it does have a good little point to it. Okay. And then his little friend over here, his little girlfriend. Her little beak's turned just slightly different because she's facing in a slightly different direction. I think his needs a little more at the bottom. Yep, need to be a little wider at the bottom base of it. Now they got their beaks. Helps a little bit, doesn't it? It really does help a little bit for them to have a beak. Just a bit, just a bit. Okay. My little bird friend needs a leg. So he's got this here. Little leg coming out over here. Kind of going back that way. And then this one's sort of back here, so it's kind of coming out of back in here. Make it bend down so that it appears to be going over. Just I don't know about that foot, but there we go. He's got a couple of feet. He's got a couple of feet. This one's feet are more kind of humped up. I would not humped up, but you know what I mean. Kind of more along that line. Let's see. This one's going to be just a little bit coming out here. And maybe just going over the top on the other side a smidgen. And that back under there. Okay, so we got some little birdie feet holding them on. Hey, Jessica. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate you being here. Brown to right here just a little. Okay, let me see. Need a little bit of that bird's beak needs to come out more this way. Let me wipe that off. Go back to my beak color. Yeah, that does look better. It needed a little help. This one needs more of a highlight right in here. A little down here. I don't know if you can even see the highlights on there. Yeah, you can, just a little bit. Just a little bit to kind of give it a bit of a shine, just a small amount of highlight to it. Just a smaller bit of white right there. Right at the top of his. Okay. I gotta work on their wings a little bit. That's kind of an odd coloring right there. I'm trying to figure out what to do with that. It's hard to match it. Get a little more white to mix in that. There, I didn't actually have enough paint up by his face. I could see it, so I wanted to make sure the paint went all the way up to his face. Okay, so let me get this, some of this black. Okay, and let me look here. How am I going to get this to look right? This has to be wet for one thing so that it's thinner. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay. Alrighty. So like right about here. Just making thin little stripes on his wing here. And a little bit of darkness right along here for shading. I think that one should have gone a little further. And then we're going to put some of that also down here in this tail. Just a little bit darker up under here. And we'll just give an indication of how his tail's curved down here at the bottom. So now he's just got some markings on his wings. Let's make this just, let me get a little drop of that again. Just a little bit back over this way. Just adding some little darker areas to that bird. Maybe I need to add a little bit more of the brown to that. Add a little brown, add a little gold to it, huh? Shouldn't have done that. Let me get brown and gold mix. Here we go. Bring that back over that way. He's only supposed to have a little area on his cheek. It's a little more of the red in it. Not that much. I think I better leave it alone. It looks good just the way it is. I don't need to keep doing anything else to that. I'm going to leave that alone. I'll go over here and work on this bird. Mess him up. Let's hope not. Let us hope not. Okay. Then that done, go back to the black. And I think that's what was missing over here. There's a bit of a line that goes along the part of the wing back there. This one would be right in here. And then we've got the small lines that come down and down and down. They all start kind of running together real quick. Let's start making them closer and closer and closer and closer, closer. Add a little dark underneath here. I don't know if that's helping my wings or messing my wings up, honestly. But I know that they have the little lines that are all there, and they just have little wispy. And just add a little bit right through here. Just a little bit up his back. I guess that helped him some. I guess that did help. I don't know. I'm looking at it thinking, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I... I don't know if I like that. This one needs his lines a little closer. Or extra lines. That helped. Draw a few extra lines in there. And maybe add a little shading right there. Got to do something with the tail over here. Now, just draw me some lines. See if I can't get a little thin piece of paint. So I can just mix. I guess I'm not too good at that kind of the bird's feathers. Something for me to work on, I suppose. But there we go. He's got lines on his tail. You can kind of see them there. They look a little odd, but that's okay. I'm kind of digging it. I'm kind of liking how it looks. I like how it's turning out. Now we're ready to add a little bit of snow to stuff. Because I think everything else is basically painted at this point. You know, we could add a little bit of white to them. Get just a little white. And add just small amount of white right here to kind of help bring that out. And Just some very, very light white on there, just in spots. I'm just touching this right here on his cheek with a little bit of white. Just the smallest amount. Okay, I'm ready to start adding snow. I'm just going to take my brush, turn it upside down and use the handle. No, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm going to use this. And I'm just going to start adding little dots of snow. Everywhere. Just dotting it in. The snow's coming down. Don't want to get too carried away. That'll take forever to dry. Dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot. Dot, 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 dot. Couple more. Got to make some of it in front of the spots so that the snow is falling. Just adding dots and more dots. It's just a snowy, wintry day. This is when you can really have the fun with your painting. You're just sitting there, just quietly, just enjoying yourself, just having a good time, adding some snow falling. See how that kind of just pops it up a notch? You don't have to have a dotting tool. You could use a pencil eraser. You could use the tip of your paintbrush. So many different ways to get the effect. Put some on the tree. It's falling in the front of the tree. Coming down before your eyes. Okay? Snow is falling on a quiet, wintry day. Just adding dots wherever you want. Guess we should add a couple in this area too, huh? Should I put them in front of the birds, do you think? I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave the birds without snow in front of them. Well, guys, what do you think? I think they turned out pretty good. I like how it looks. I'm going to put my initials at the bottom. And I think we're going to call it done. Wipe that off. All right. It's finished. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I appreciate you being here with me today. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you again next Wednesday. 8 o'clock. Bye now.